Good morning, Sarah Bear. Good morning. Sarah Bear, you're first. First to say hello. Good morning. That's a nice first. Good morning, Queenie. Good morning. I don't know, Sarah Bear, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Opening up the gym for everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Leroy. Good morning, Sir D and Exception. Good morning. Sarah Bear opened the gym this morning. I'm glad you knew where the keys were. We keep the keys under the mat so anybody can find them. Good morning. Good morning, HP. Good morning, Trent. Trent, I didn't get a chance to reply to your email that you sent me, but let me tell you, young man, how impressed I am. I'm impressed with the intelligent conversation you are having with GPT. I have never used ChatGPT. GPT? Is that it? I've never used it before. I'm going to read a little something from it today that Trent sent me. But Trent, even your level of questions were so intelligent. Really, I mean that. And the feedback that you got from that chat GPT business was absolutely amazing. It was cogent, it was precise, it was concise, it was educational. I was blown away. I sat there and I read the whole thing and I was like, every single bit of it clicked. Every single bit. It made me, Trent, you made me, not made me, but motivated me to get the book, the one book that you had referenced. I'm not going to talk about it here because we're going to actually start reading it here. I'm getting it tomorrow in the mail, and then I'm gonna voraciously read it. And if it's anything close to what it's talking about in ChatGPT, I think that's something that would be well worth sharing. I think that would be something well worth sharing here at T. So I'm excited about that. Thank you so much for sending me that email and the text of your chat with GPT. It was absolutely educational. Grok. Okay, I'm giving ChatGPT all the, thank you for the clarification, Trent. I'm giving chat all the credit and glory. Grok. Okay. I love the word grok. I remember the first time I ever learned it. Stranger in a Strange Land. Robert Heinlein novel. Great book. I read it back when I was a teenager. I've never forgotten the word grok. Unfortunately, we don't use it because not very many people know what it means. Even the author has a hard time explaining it. It's something, an alien skill, to be able to grok something. So thank you, Trent, very much for sending me that. Mellow, you're here. Mellow, right before the program started this morning, on IG, you asked a question. In Australia, we don't say grok. We say, oh, Jesus Christ, I read that. I shouldn't have read it out loud, you goofball. Let me show you guys this first, and then I'm going to do something else. Hold on. Nipper sent me a beautiful, beautiful reel, and I want to share it with everybody. Nipper, it was a close one. You're right. He got me really close.
I remember sitting in the forest one day alone, and this beautiful fly, I've never seen one before or since. It was all sorts of colours, really about this big, and it settled on my knee. And I looked at it, and my mind immediately said, it's a fly. As soon as you say it's a fly, you take away from the magic. And yet we can't help but do it. That's how we're brought up. Something must have a name. But I tried very hard in that moment to just think of it as a being, as a part of this natural, beautiful tapestry of life. And so, for me, it's as though it's one connected whole, me and the wilderness, the wildlife around me. And if I have a soul, then it's a little piece of this amazing harmony, this spirit. And if I have this, then so does that little fly, and the butterfly, and the tree that we're sitting on.
One more time.
I remember sitting in the forest.
What a saintly woman.
And this beautiful fly, I've never seen one before or since. It was all sorts of colours, really about this big, and it settled on my knee. And I looked at it, and my mind immediately said, it's a fly. As soon as you say it's a fly, you take away from the magic. And yet we can't help but do it. That's how we're brought up. Something must have a name. But I tried very hard in that moment to just think of it as a being, as a part of this natural, beautiful tapestry of life. And so, for me, it's as though it's one connected whole, me and the wilderness, the wildlife around me. And if I have a soul, then it's a little piece of this amazing harmony, this spirit. And if I have this, then so does that little fly, and the butterfly, and the tree that we're sitting on.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you, Nipper. So much wisdom. That's the wisdom of the Tao right there. She was speaking wisdom of the Tao right there. Mello, on Instagram this morning, on our Instagram page, she asked a question. I have an answer, but I think it wouldn't be bad to hear from the group. Let's take 2 to 3 minutes and just give just a tiny bit of feedback to Mello for the question that she asked. Okay? She says, good morning. Anybody ever get mushrooms that don't work on them, but work on others? What are your comments to that? Have you ever taken mushrooms that work on others, but they didn't work on you, at least at that particular moment? What are your guys, Pops has answers, but I like your answers here. Good morning, Paige. What do you guys think? Oh, Sarah, me too. My tolerance is very low. I can take a very small amount and feel like I'm having the same amount as somebody that's just taken 2 to 3 grams. There's some answers right there for you, Mello. Okay? There's some good answers. I have once ingested some mushrooms and didn't really feel anything, or at least that I could consciously know that I felt once. And other people were. I've also had people that I've provided to that write to me and say, hey, I'm not getting it. A lot of it has to do with set and setting. A lot of it has to do with how much what you had recently eaten, what's in your system. As Cyber Jolie mentions here, it even some has to do with some of the, if we're on any kind of medications. So it's not unusual by any means. Let me back that up. It might be somewhat unusual, but it's not unheard of by any means. And I would venture to say many of us have experienced it. So don't ever immediately jump to the conclusion that there's something wrong with the mushroom, or even that there's something wrong with me. It's just the universe has decided that that would be my experience for that particular time. So that would be my answer. Okay. My computer's weird. I'm showing only one person here. One person with 20 likes. I would hesitate to worry, Mellow, I'm never a big fan of empty stomach. I'm a fan more of, if you can eat a banana. Eat a banana. You guys are showing one person as well? Okay. So we're not going to worry about that number today. Alright? But, Mellow, if you get a chance, I would eat a banana. It helps soothe your stomach, and it also breaks down the chitin in the cell walls of the shroom, and it helps it process it to psilocin easier and faster. Okay? I'm not a big fan of an empty stomach, because it just doesn't go down right. So, those are my thoughts. Trent sent me an email this weekend. Merlin did too. Merlin's back. Merlin, I've got to be honest with you. I'm not really grokking this whole, some of the things that you've been sending me. I think I appreciate it considerably that you even take the time to send me. But some of it seems just a little scattered to me, for me. And I know you're trying to clear it up. It's okay. I don't know the frequency business like it seems like you're getting into, and that. And at every level, I appreciate your reaching out to me with information like you do. I'm not the biggest understander of it. Just so you don't take it personal by any means. It's me and not you. Okay? Trent sent me this morning, or this weekend. Because I use this AI chat. It's the most logical one I've found so far. He saw an entity in a waking vision with a girl who witnessed it the second time he appeared, and she said, "Where did he go?" I see. Okay. Yeah. Cleanie, I have a feeling I am on a different frequency. You got me. So, Trent says it's the most logical one I've found so far. It's a conversation I had with it, a lot of reading, but I think there are some good points or ideas in here that help explain my outtake to life right now with the 4 agreements. and the fifth agreement. Now, we haven't covered the fifth agreement here. They talk about it at Mystic Journeys Church, and I certainly have the book, and I feel like it's time to dive into the fifth agreement. So we'll be looking at that within the next few weeks, looking at and rightly dividing the fifth agreement, because it sort of takes the four agreements and it captures it with a slightly overreaching view. Okay. Scripts, I believe that, first of all, I don't believe a lot of the stories in the Bible. They're stories, they're myths, and they're cultural myths. However, I believe that they're if that story has some truth to it, I believe that yes, some shrooms pop up in the morning, and the Hebrews that were the Israelites that were wandering in the desert for 40 years, I believe that they could have stumbled across patches of mushrooms, and they wouldn't have been psilocybin mushrooms. They would be other kind of mushrooms, and they brought them sustenance. So I believe that that kind of story, it could have come from a source like that. That's my thought. So, there's a book called This Is Water. I have not read it, but this Grok chat makes me want to. So I ordered it on Amazon. We'll have it tomorrow here. I'll read it, and then I'll see what parts of it work for our tea group. So, I feel some miss the ideas of awareness that comes to these ideas. There are many books or concepts that explain this idea, yet still it's a challenge for some to see awareness, and challenge to teach or show it, at least to me. Thinking this way is as close as being in pure bliss all the time for me. I'm still human and I get angry and upset, but it's short-lived now compared to how it would last days or weeks. Weeks of arguments in my mitote, fighting assumptions and taking things personal. Thank you, Pops, for being kind and impeccable with your word, sharing your thoughts and learnings with us. I highly appreciate it. Trent said that. I'm going to read just the opening portion of this Grok chat that he was having. Okay? And this may well be worth reading the whole thing. It would take us 2 to 3 days to get through it because it's relatively long. Trent asked Grok this question. Would any theories match or come close to this concept? That humans don't have free will in the way they often think they do? Instead, the idea is people have the power of intention towards a higher probability, a choice to make at given times that relates to one's moral code or standards. Help me elaborate these ideas. These moral standards are not free will. Instead, they are programming that is a result of learning, observing, hearing, listening, and seeing everyone in the environment around oneself. Incredibly intelligent question. Grok replies, your concept is a nuanced, probabilistic take on free will that rejects the popular libertarian version. The idea that you could have done otherwise in an absolute uncaused way, while still carving out real agency through intention. It treats moral standards not as freely chosen, but as environmental programming, the cumulative result of learning, observing, hearing, listening, and seeing the world around you. Intention then acts as a kind of biasing mechanism. At any given moment, you can tilt the odds towards choices that align with that programmed moral code, raising their probability without magically breaking the chain of prior causes. This is a coherent and modern sounding position. It sits somewhere between hard determinism, which is everything is fully caused and free will is an illusion, and compatibilism, which means free will is real but compatible with causation. It also echoes ideas from psychology, neuroscience, and decision science. Below, I'll elaborate your idea step by step in clearer terms, then show which established theories match or come closest. And finally, I'll give some practical ways to expand. Elaborating the core idea. There is no traditional free will. That's one idea. You don't have a magical, uncaused chooser inside you. Every decision has antecedents. Your genes, your past experiences, your current brain state, the immediate environment. The feeling of I freely choose is real subjectivity, but it's not the full story. Moral code equals programming, not free will. It's another way to look at it. Meaning your standards of right and wrong, honesty, kindness, ambition, loyalty, aren't things you've invented from scratch. They were installed in you. What you observed and absorbed as a child, your parents, your peers, your media, your culture. Then there's reinforcement loops, praise for certain behaviors, punishment for others. And there's repeated exposure, stories, role models, and consequences you've witnessed. This is like software. The environment wrote the code. You didn't choose the programming language or the initial data set. All of this completely lines up with the four agreements, by the way. Intention as a probability shifter. At decision time, you do have a real power. The ability to consciously direct attention or effort toward one option over others. This doesn't create new possibilities out of nothingness. It simply increases the likelihood that the choice matching your moral programming will win out. Example, you're tempted to lie to avoid trouble. Your programmed moral code, honesty equals good, is already there from years of learning. Intention is the extra weight you throw behind honesty. Maybe by pausing, reminding yourself of past lessons, or visualizing the long-term cost. That nudge raises the possibility that honesty wins, even if the temptation was wrong. Is anybody liking what the chat that's going on between Trent and Grok? Who's digging it? Who's digging it? What happened with Merlin? What happened? Merlin, I wasn't able to read any of the comments as I was reading, so I apologize. I'm digging it. The chat between, and it goes on, it gets real deep and gets heavy. and I want to read more of it. So we're going to nibble away at that over the course of the next few. I'm sorry, Merlin, for however I may have upset you. It certainly didn't mean it in any way. I apologize to you. So we try to practice the second agreement, which is don't take things personal. It wasn't you, it's me reading something else and not reading your comments, okay? Thank you, and I hope you understand. Trent, great stuff. Let's jump over to another thing that we started looking into last week. Do you remember we started reading the book about the Mushroom Man, Terence McKenna? We read chapter 1. I'm going to read a couple more chapters today. Okay? Chapter 2. The Mind Expands. Terence left Colorado behind and stepped into a much bigger world. College life in Berkeley, California during the 1960s. Which, in case you forgot, wasn't just a time period, it was a cosmic event. The counterculture was exploding. Music, politics, sex, war, rebellion, and most of all, consciousness was shifting. The rules were melting. Reality was up for debate. And Terence wasn't just on the sidelines. He was watching it like an alien anthropologist with a front row seat. He enrolled in art history and dove into shamanism, because of course he did. He was drawn to the strange, the sacred, and the beautiful, to images and ideas that hinted at something beyond logic. That's when he found his holy trinity. Aldous Huxley, the intellectual prophet of psychedelics. Alan Watts, the Zen trickster who made mysticism sound like jazz. And Timothy Leary, the Harvard renegade who told people turn on, tune in, and drop out. Terence devoured their work, and when he wasn't reading, he was experimenting. First it was cannabis, not as a party drug, but as a lens. He didn't get high to escape, he got high to observe. Then came LSD, pure, clean, consciousness-cracking acid. It wasn't always pleasant, but it was definitely interesting. He said later, psychedelics don't work if you have ideas. They work if you're willing to have your ideas dismantled. In those early trips, Terence began to glimpse what he'd later call the unspeakable. The part of reality that language can't reach, but experience can. He wasn't just chasing bliss. He was hunting structure in patterns and symmetries and hidden laws beneath the chaos. The deeper he went, the more he became convinced that the mind was not a product of the brain. The mind was a dimension. The psychedelics were the key. But if LSD cracked the door, another substance was about to kick it off the hinges. Mushrooms. Psilocybin. The fungus that would shape the rest of his life. And not just any mushrooms. Soon Terence would leave the world of college papers and college and classroom lectures behind and follow the call of something ancient, intelligent, and green. Chapter 3. The Call of the Amazon. In 1971, Terence McKenna and his brother Dennis and a few equally adventurous friends set out for South America. Their destination? The Colombian Amazon, specifically a remote region called La Chorrera. Their stated goal? To find the ukuhe, a rare orally active form of DMT used by indigenous shamans. Their actual goal, let's just say it had less to do with chemistry and more to do with reality collapse. At this point, Terence had read the texts, taken the trips, and filled the journals. But now he wanted contact with nature, the subconscious, and whatever intelligence might be waiting out there in the jungle. When they found the La Cochera, what he found in the La Cochera wasn't just a few rare vines. They also found mushrooms, enormous, thriving, and everywhere. It was as though the ecosystem itself had engineered a consciousness amplifier, Terence later said. And it was saying, welcome, sit down. So they sat, and they ate a lot. What followed wasn't just a trip. It was a theory-bending, time-breaking, hallucination-drenched experiment that would shape the rest of their lives and possibly rewire space-time itself. The McKenna brothers began to document their experiences obsessively. They reported visions, voices, and bizarre downloads of alien information. Dennis, brilliant, unstable, and fearless, believed he had found a way to stabilize the tryptamine state and possibly materialize the logos, the cosmic intelligence behind language, form, and existence. Terence, fascinated and alarmed, went with it. They began rituals, chanting, fasting, audio feedback loops, and massive mushroom ingestion, all with the goal of reaching a perfect resonance between mind, matter, and the mushroom. They believed they were on the verge of unlocking a unified field, a psychic event that would collapse duality, bend time, and possibly destroy the world. It didn't, probably, but something did break. Time broke, language collapsed, and something else started speaking. This was the moment that seeded Time Wave Zero, a strange spiraling theory of time, novelty, and fractal history that Terence would spend the next 30 years of his life trying to explain, and explain away. Whether it was real, madness, or a new kind of perception, La Chorrera became myth. And Terence didn't come home the same. Because once you've talked to the mushrooms and it talks back, you don't go back to campus. How many people are enjoying this so far? Give me a few thumbs up. Are you guys liking this? Don't you like hearing about these guys? The history of some of our predecessors. Isn't this neat? Let me read one more chapter for today. Thank you for the feedback. I love it. Chapter 4, The Experiment That Broke Time. Back in the jungle, time stopped behaving. At La Chorrera, Terence and Dennis weren't just experimenting with mushrooms. They were conducting reality manipulation on purpose, repeatedly. The centerpiece of the madness was a theory Dennis developed under the influence of heroic doses of psilocybin. He believed that if they could hit the right vibrational frequency through sound, mushroom ingestion, and consciousness alignment, they could produce a standing wave of time, a literal collapse of duality. The logos would appear, history would end, game over. Terence, initially skeptical, started to see patterns. The mushrooms were producing meaning, not just visuals. They were intelligent, communicative, and they were saying, reality is made of language, and you monkeys are barely using it right. I love that. Mushrooms tell us, you monkeys are barely using it right. They performed the experiment of La Chorrera, a mix of chanting, mushrooms, audio loops, and Dennis attempting to merge with the cosmic frequency. And that's when Dennis broke reality, or maybe just himself. For days, he existed in a state of psychedelic overflow. He was hearing the I Ching in real time, downloading bizarre mathematical structures, and claiming to see time as a topographical manifold. Terence documented everything. He was stunned, terrified, and enthralled. The jungle became a pressure cooker of visions, paranoia, and cosmic downloads. They weren't just tripping. They believed they had changed the structure of time. Reality became a story, and they were rewriting the ending. Based on patterns pulled from the King Wen sequence of the I Ching and mapped against the fractal time spiral, the idea was that time is not linear. It's a wave of novelty, and we're surfing towards an apex. The apex was eventually interpreted as December 21st, 2012. The end of the wave, the end of history, the moment when everything changes. Terence would later say, I don't believe it's true, but it's too interesting to ignore. Was it real? Was it madness? Maybe both. But one thing was certain. Terence McKenna wasn't just a psychonaut anymore. He was now the mushroom man, a philosopher, a theorist, and a reluctant prophet of the coming strange. We'll pick this up tomorrow and continue to read a little bit more in this book, try to get through maybe 3 chapters a day. There's only 12 chapters or so. So we're already going to be hitting chapter 5 tomorrow. Terence McKenna, the Mushroom Man. I'm feeling, just one more time not that I owe anybody anything, but just feel like expressing an apology one more time. It seems somebody's feelings were really hurt here, and I certainly never want that to be the case. And I'm so incredibly sorry. I do miss comments as they fly by here, and nice to see you, Green Left, and nice to see you too, MVP, and anybody that I've missed. I'm pretty good at being able to read comments as I read other things, but maybe this morning I'm just a little bit off. Okay, so that's my disclaimer. It's always lovely to see my friend MVP. And Greenleaf, you're right, I haven't seen you in a little while. So, never intentionally hurt someone's feelings, and or ignore people that have something to say. And if it's unintentional, then you just don't take it personal. It's a perfect chance to practice the second agreement pause. Let's look at the 81st and last verse. Oh, it's such a... Parting is such sweet sorrow that we're about to finish the... Oh, thank you, Green. It's, we're on our last verse. It's been such a lovely trip through the book, the Tao Te Ching. It's been a lovely trip. I feel like we should trip through again in a few months after we've absorbed some of this and even practiced it. Definitely be practicing. The 81st verse. True words are not beautiful. Beautiful words are not true. Good men do not argue, and those who argue are not good. Those who have virtue do not look for faults. Those who look for faults have no virtue. Sages do not accumulate anything, but give everything to others. Having more, they give more. Heaven does good to all, daring no evil to anyone, doing no evil to anyone. The sage imitates that, acting for the good of all, and opposing himself to no one. Those were the final words of the Tao Te Ching. Let's dive into that just a little bit. This final verse of the Tao Te Ching provides the closing message of the collection of all the ideas. You came from no thingness, nothingness, no thingness. The place of your origination had no things. The place of your return is one of no things. Therefore, Lao Tzu is inviting you to replace the accumulation of more stuff with the celebration of your true essence. Just as nothing is pure, the Tao is formless. The real you is that same formlessness, for you are the Tao. The Tao Te Ching attempts to attract you to a way of being that recognizes nothingness as the Tao. You could call it God-realized way of being. This means giving more, arguing less, and releasing your attachment to everything in the world of 10,000 things. Ultimately, living this way means letting go of your attachments to your life and your body. But you can practice this right now while you're still living in the world. St. John of the Cross speaks to this way of seeing your life. To reach satisfaction in all, desire its possession in nothing. To come to possess all, desire the possession of nothing. To arrive at being all, desire to be nothing. To come to the knowledge of all, desire the knowledge of nothing. All of this wisdom of nothingness comes out of the verses and the offerings of Lao Tzu, that ancient spiritual sage who wants us to experience the bliss of being, all by knowing a non-accumulating place of no thingness. It's difficult to imagine a world without things. Yet in this final verse of the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu takes you through what such a world would look like. You don't need beautiful words, since there is no thing to describe. There is no thing to argue about, as there are no possessions to fight over. There's no fault finding or blaming, for all that exists is the hidden virtue of the Tao. And finally, there is no thing to collect or amass or accumulate, which leaves you in a state of creative giving and supporting. Heaven does good, Lao Tzu says, and good is a synonym for God, which is truly the same as the Tao. Meister Eckhart illustrates the interchangeability of the words God and Tao in this piece. God is being beyond being, and a nothingness beyond being. God is nothing, no thing. God is nothing, and yet God is everything. You're encouraged in this final verse of the enduring and amazing Tao Te Ching to do all you can to imitate heaven while you're here in this form. Imitate heaven while we're in this human form. Heaven has nothing, needs nothing, and yet it has everything. The less it has, the more it has to give away. What does that mean? I'm experiencing it in that when you empty yourself out by giving and being virtuous, you are now an empty vessel to be filled back up with what? The same. And now I have more to give of that. And as I empty that out, it's going to be automatically refilled with more of what? The same. You can imitate heaven while we're here on earth, while we're here in this body form. Jane Goodall, right at the very beginning of our program this morning, should basically saying the same thing. That everything that is of the 10,000 things has some spirit form. I was taught as a child, all the way through till 50 years old, that only human beings have souls. You know, a soul can't even be described. That's a construct of man. We're set apart. We're greater than any other living thing because we have a soul and nothing else does. I call bullshit. I don't think I have a soul. I have a spirit. I have a life spark. That's what I have. I don't have a greater spirit than any other thing. I'm not special because I have a soul and a bear doesn't. I wouldn't want a soul if it made me act like a human and be the worst predator on the planet. Our species has damaged the planet more than any other species ever at any time. We've proliferated and we've populated and inhabited, and we've destroyed beyond measure other species. We've eliminated more species than are currently alive. I don't want that soul. Keep it. I want a spirit. I want the same spirit they have. That's what I want. That's what I have. I don't need the teaching that taught me I'm superior. I'm not. I'm just one of the 10,000 things. That's good, nephew. That's not soul, it's greed and ego, etc., etc. Quit accumulating points for being right. I spent a lifetime, well, from the time I was 30 to the time I was 60, doing everything I could, even younger. I was a debate guy in high school. I got a scholarship to college because of my debate skills. Back then, they had what they called the National Forensics League. It was public speaking, etc., etc. I won the championship of the state of California. And each state sent a debater to the national finals. It was in Philadelphia at the time. I represented the state of California as the champion debater. Your skills are you can take either side of an issue, and they would always have an issue, and you'd have to research it, and you'd have to have proof to back up your position, and you'd go research, and you'd find articles, and you'd find experts that propounded a certain point of view. But you didn't know until you reached the podium. You didn't know until you reached the podium which side you were going to take on a given topic. You were either going to be the pro or the con to an individual topic. So you had to be prepared to take either side. And then there's judges. And they judge, oh, this guy did a better job in the debate. He was more convincing than this guy. Skills. Linguistic skills. Took a little intelligence, took some research, took backing up your point of view. But you were really trying to be right. And it's getting scoring points for being right versus the other guy's wrong. I'm right. I got really good at it. Really good. Good enough to be offered a scholarship to college. We want you, but you got to be on our debate team. Yeah. That's what lawyers do, that's right. I wanted to be a lawyer for a while. I also wanted to be a priest when I was 12. I also wanted to be a football player. National League football, too small. I wanted to be on the United States rugby team. Not good enough. Because I'd make the Marine Corps team, but not the United States side. I wanted to be a race car driver. I wanted to be a pilot. There's so many things. But you know what I always wanted most? Was to be right. My sister told me, you guys have heard this. I let other people keep my score. Well, no wonder I was trained. I was trained to get the best score from the judges. And the higher my score was, the higher my self-image was. The more points I could score for being right, the higher my score got. The higher my self-image got. Then I went into a profession. I was always had businesses because you were never making a lot of money in the preaching circles. But boy, I got right into it. Right out of rehab. I'm like, I got to get back into proving I'm right. Fundamental guy. Stood on on soapbox, literally a soapbox, like a crate. Down at Venice Beach, Bible in one hand, Mr. Debate Mouth in the other, yelling at the people walking by, telling them that they were going to hell if they didn't repent. And people would come up and they'd have a different point of view. Oh, I was in my element. Now I can prove to you that I am right. Listen to me, I've got the knowledge. I've memorized the scriptures. I was that guy. Not even joking. I was the guy. And it felt good. It felt good to stand up a little taller, higher up than everybody else, and tell them they're wrong and I'm right. Yelling it out to the public. Now I look back, I mean, I'm grateful for the experience, but I gag. Really, Pops? What a crazy, crazy concept. The more right I am, the better a person I am. The more I can prove I'm right, the better person I am. The Tao's taught me to experience no thing, neither right nor wrong. It's such a liberating way to feel. I don't need that self-image anymore. It's been a slow process to get where I'm going. I'll be impeccable with my word and leave it at that. Don't need to convince somebody, though it sounds like I try. That is not my point of view. Quit accumulating points for being right. Good morning, Mama Jess. Let go of your propensity for argument, Pops, and replace it with the willingness to allow anyone with whom you have a disagreement to be right. Let them be right. You don't have to prove your point, Pops. Even if you don't agree, let them be right. I'm not on the planet to change their mind or score points for being right. End your quarreling ways by simply telling the other person, you're right about that. And I appreciate hearing your point of view. It would have saved so many of my relationships had I been able to say that. Had I had that skill set instead of my debate skill set. You're right about that. And I appreciate your point of view. They'd have kicked me right off the debate team. You can't say that. When you say that, it ends all arguments. It ends all blame. It ends all fault finding. Try it in your home. Especially with your significant other, your spouse. Try it. They're coming at you. They've got their point of view. And we are programmed to get defensive, bow up, and take the opposite point of view. Or at least prove you're right to them. Anybody ever had that happen in their home? You can admit it. Anybody ever had that? And you know what ends up happening is the volume goes up, doesn't it? It never stops at a conversational level, a simple conversational level. The volume starts ratcheting up. And next thing you know, you're fighting like a cat and a dog in your own home with somebody you profess to love profoundly, that you sleep with. But that's because you're responding to a program. We can rewrite that program. I don't need to be right, honey. I appreciate your point of view. This eliminates all of those arguments. It eliminates all of the fault finding. It eliminates it. Practice that. Change ego's need to be right. By using a Tao-based statement, you're right about that. And even if they're not right, they are to them, or they wouldn't have made the statement. So let them own it until their mind changes, or other information comes in, or whatever happens. The flower is right about what it's doing. The deer is right about what it's doing. The tree is right. The sun is right. Reduce yourself down to zero or no thingness. Observe your body and all of your belongings, and then put them into a changing world context. Keep this statement from Mahatma Gandhi in mind. If you would swim on the bosom of the ocean of truth, you must reduce yourself to zero. So from a place of no thingness or zero, become the observer, seeing what you accumulate in the world. From this perspective, you'll find that nothing can ever truly be real in such a world. Practice this exercise whenever you're feeling attached to your possessions or your point of view. D.H. Lawrence dramatically captures it this way. Are you willing to be sponged out, erased, canceled, made nothing? Are you willing to be made nothing, dipped into oblivion? If not, you will never really change. Do the Tao. Do it now. This is the last verse of the whole book of the Tao Te Ching. It encompasses it all. In order to live a fulfilling life, we have to reduce ourselves to nothingness. Diminish so you can expound, so you can grow. Empty yourself so you can be filled again with that same thing that you just emptied yourself of. The scripture, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So when the mouth is speaking, you're hearing their heart. When somebody's angry or vitriolic or racial or biased or something, that's the abundance of their heart. And it spills out. What spills out of us? What spills out of you today? The abundance of your heart. What are you abundantly filled with? Love, goodness, kindness, non-judgmental, a lack of needing to be right. That's what I try to get filled with today. That's what my abundant heart wants to say. That's what wants to spill out of me. And many of you here, out of the abundance of our heart, the mouth speaks. Which is why it's so important to be impeccable. The more impeccable we are with our mouth, the more we know our heart is impeccable. We are practicing a new way of believing, of feeling, of sharing ourselves with the planet. The sage does not hoard, and he thereby bestows. The more he lives for others, the greater his life. The more he gives to others, the greater is his abundance. The more you give to others, the greater is your abundance. It's so hard to understand. It's such a paradox. But live it and you'll get it. It's like, click. The more you give, the more abundant you are. You know why? Because you can't give something you don't have. So you clearly are abundant in that. What are you abundant in? Are you abundant in anger? Are you abundant in criticism? Are you abundant in gossip? Are you abundant in those things that just are destructive? Or are you abundant in sweetness and in kindness and in generosity and in frugality? Are you abundant in no thingness? We'll know by your language. A couple of Chinese philosophers' thoughts, and then we'll close. People only worry that their own existence and abundance are insufficient. Sun Chang says this. They don't realize that helping and giving to others does them no harm, but benefits themselves instead. Giving to others does no harm, but benefits yourself instead. Cao Chung says this. The wealth that comes from giving generously is inexhaustible. The power that arises from not accumulating is boundless. True words are so. Ho Chang Kung says, true words are simple and not beautiful. The good accumulate and cultivate the Tao, not the arts. The wise know the Tao, not information. Sages accumulate virtue, not wealth. They give their wealth to the poor, and they use their virtue to teach the unwise. And like the sun or moon, they never stop shining. And so ends our passage, our journey through the Tao Te Ching. What an incredible journey. Mind-altering when we practice. We've had an amazing 3 months going through this with you guys. Can you believe that? We've gone through 81 verses. I skipped a couple early on. I can't even remember why. But we've gone through 81 verses of the Tao Te Ching together. And I appreciate your guys' patience with me in going through it. At first, I was concerned. Are they going to think Pops has gone off the deep end, some Eastern mystical guy? No, don't even think that way, Pops, because you're taking yourself personal. What you need to do is just read and practice and study and rewrite these and do the Tao. And let's see what happens. What's going to happen to you? And I can tell you, I feel a changing. I know that I am. I'm experiencing it. So thank you guys for being here and listening to it. Putting up with the old Paparoo. We'll have a couple of new things to explore in the coming weeks. New ideas, new thoughts. But it's all going to have the same theme. And it's all going to be about emptying ourselves so we can be filled with virtue, and that our mouths will speak abundant virtue. Okay? Thank you guys once again. Words don't even begin to describe how much I appreciate this group of people that we have and the platform that's been given to me by YouTube and the opportunity. It gives me the discipline to sit down and study every night before a program, and not just come up here in the morning and wing it, but to prepare, to open up my mind and prepare, and be prepared to not tell you I'm right, but to ask you, to invite you to change, to invite you to be a change agent, not just changing yourself, but changing those around you, changing your family through your leadership. through your kind, generous leadership and your modeling as an example. One of these days, your children are going to say, boy, Mom changed. She used to holler at us a lot. Now she just tells us wonderful, good things. Mom's sure gotten wise. Pops is sure, Dad's sure a lot calmer and a lot less anxious. Why does Dad go out and take walks now? And he didn't used to. He used to sit around in front of the TV and drink beer. Look at my dad. Thank you guys. Have a great, wonderful day. 4 things I leave you with. Be impeccable with your word. Your word proves your heart. Out of the abundance of your heart come your words. What words are you using? That's a mirror to what your heart looks like. Don't take things personal. Looks like we had somebody here who might have done that today. And I feel terrible for that person. But I'm not taking that personal. I wish his experience had been different. I make no assumptions. I have no expectations. I'm just going to keep being old Paparoo. Just the way I am. And keep growing. And today I'll do my best. That's all I have. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to wake up in the morning. I do know that I can do my best today. I know all of you can do your best today. Let me scroll my friends out and thank you one final time for going through that book with me. It's been a wonderful, wonderful journey. Love Slingers, nice to see you here this morning. And there's Nipper. Good morning, Nippy. Thank you for that wonderful reel that got my morning started. And there is Daniel, married Michael. And Kim, the Golden Bolden. She is still our ambassador of kindness. Mike the Handsome Barball. Jesus Christ in Australia. Derek Sir D. Anderson. And Joe Dees. And Herbie. Thank you, Herbs. Thanks for being here. Thanks for moderating, doing the things you do to protect our community. And Cyber Jolie, good morning to you. And Ray Cook, have a blessed day, my good friend. And Cleany, you too. Thank you, Niff. And Malkuth, thank you. It's so nice to see you here this morning. And Sammy P. Sammy P. I can tell you guys what I see with Sammy. Sammy is a growing boy. And Shroom dear, nice to see you, Shroomy. And you too, Cluck Cluck. Cluck Cluck, nice one. And who else do we have here this morning? Coach Leroy. Good morning, Leroy. You have a wonderful day. Vaggie, you too. You have a great day, my dear. Corey D. Have a wonderful day, Cor. Zozo LSD, I'll see you. Hopefully tomorrow. Trenty, thank you for that wonderful gift of an email. We're still going to read a little more of it out loud here. Who else? Jimmy all the way to the max. Malak. Okay, thank you for the clarification, Malkuth. Malak, thank you. And who else? Paige. Have a beautiful day, Paigey. And Mr. Phillips and Laura. I never tell Laura to have a beautiful day. I tell Laura to have a divine day. Laura is divine. Pops, peace, love, kindness, and no thingness. Diminish so you can grow. Pops, peace, love. Pops out.